After qualifying for 3 successive Africa Cup of Nations tournaments between 2016 and 2021, Zimbabwe did not feature in the Ivory Coast competition earlier this year after being banned by FIFA. And it has been quite a difficult few years for the Warriors, with an international football ban, several players switching allegiances to pursue international football elsewhere, while securing a permanent head coach to help rebuild the side has also proven to be a major challenge. Joining us to shed more light on the Warriors' preparations is Zimbabwe-based sports journalist Tatenda Gondo. Tatenda, thank you so much for joining us here on the AM Report. And it does seem like Group C is now wide open, Benin getting that shock victory against Nigeria, and only 3 points separating Lesotho and Zimbabwe right at the bottom of the standings. What's the mood like in the camp as you prepare for this assignment against Bafana Bafana?
Okay, the mood in camp is great. I think players want to redeem themselves, especially after the disappointing 2-0 defeat against Lesotho, whom we used to defeat way back. So the guys are ready to redeem themselves. And, you know, when Zimbabwe and South Africa play together, the Limpopo derby is always special. And despite our defeat to Lesotho, the boys are really willing to defeat South Africa today.
And let's talk about that defeat to Lesotho and perhaps some of the key learnings that you think the side would have taken then as you prepare for this assignment in Bloemfontein.
You see, our technical team, our head coach was only appointed 2 weeks prior to the qualifiers, and the team had to be in camp 4 days before the game against Lesotho. So that alone obviously indicated that the coach didn't have enough time to bond with the players, create a winning formation, and all sorts. Hence, the results against Lesotho is a real indication on what's on the ground. There's more work that needs to be done, particularly by the normalization committee. And once that is done, obviously we would expect a team to prepare well. They say preparing to fail. Preparing to prepare is preparing to fail. So that's the result we got when we lost against Lesotho, whom we used to defeat. But also credit goes to Lesotho. They have been building their team. I understand the head coach has been there with the team for the past 3 years, which meant that there is continuity. And in our case, it's a different story altogether, because in the last couple of months, the Warriors have been coached by 4 different head coaches, which is something that is bizarre, considering that we want a team to qualify for the World Cup.
And what is the status with that, Tatenda, at the moment? Who is going to be on the bench for the Warriors in that particular game? Because we saw Norman Mapenza being the caretaker coach, interim coach Jairus Tapera. We've heard a number of names being brought around in terms of Bruce Krobler, potentially Kaitano Tembo as a permanent member of that technical team. Who is going to be coaching the side, though, in this fixture?
The interim head coach is Jairus Tapera. They, according to the press release by the normalization committee, they have said that they've placed Jairus Tapera to be the interim head coach for the qualifiers against Lesotho and South Africa. So obviously it's Jairus Tapera, and veteran coach Sunday Chidzambwa is technical director for the fixtures against Lesotho, who played, and now South Africa.
And any word on the progress on finding a permanent head coach?
Again, according to their press release, they said they'd found a head coach, but they are waiting to finalize some papers or agreements of some sort. They're not clear who they found to replace. Hence, I feel that's why they appointed Tapera as the interim head coach, but they haven't told us the name of the person who will take full charge of the Warriors.
Well, certainly hope that's going to be revealed soon enough. Let's talk about the playing personnel then. A lot of questions around whether the correct team had been selected, whether they'd find a suitable replacement for a Divine Lunga, reinforcements being called into the camp. Take us through some of the changes that have been made ahead of today's fixture.
Yeah, the coach hinted on obviously changing players. But then again, we go to issues of obviously a coach announcing a squad just 4 days, a week before the qualifiers, and with some sections of the media hinting on that it's likely that the coach did not actually announce or select those players, but someone within the FIFA secretariat had to pick a team for the head coach. But
while we're on that point, Tatenda, before you proceed, if you're talking about perhaps allegations of interference from FIFA, has that been established? What is your view? Is it looking like it is a squad that was selected by the coach, considering what you've mentioned now, which is the coach wouldn't have been in a position to know well enough in terms of the team and getting that going, because they themselves have only been in the role in an intermediary basis. So has there been interference from FIFA then?
Yeah, I think there has been interference. Why do I say so? From my own investigations, I know a couple of players that told me that their clubs received invitation letters 2 weeks prior to a coach being appointed. So in other words, we are saying a squad was already announced before. A squad was already invited to come in camp before the Warriors coach was appointed. So yeah, to a greater extent, there is definitely a chance that someone within the FIFA secretariat appointed and invited players and selected players for the coach.
And as we wrap up then, how much of this do you think is going to influence the performance we can expect to see from the Warriors? Because it's very difficult for players to perhaps be able to separate some off-the-field issues from what's expected from them on the field of play.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult because a certain section of Zimbabweans obviously believe that the technical team is made up of people from Harare, and they isolate the people from Bulawayo, which is actually true. And to some extent, also it is said that this has also caused the team to be divided, because there's a certain section that call themselves Hararians, and then there are those from Bulawayo, more of a tribal issue. But I'm sure the guys will obviously put that aside and try to focus on the match ahead. We obviously feel sorry for the players, because you cannot just go to a war without preparing. That's exactly what the players have gone through. So we're just hoping they redeem themselves and obviously win against South Africa. We don't want to lose against you. We always want to win. So it's going to be a tricky match, and obviously our players will take it personal and definitely will try and get a win.
Well, certainly hope so. And I can tell you South Africans are going to be hoping for much of the same as well as they look to qualify for that FIFA World Cup. Thank you so much for your time, Tatenda Gondo. Of course, Tatenda is a journalist, a sports journalist based in Zimbabwe, in Harare at the moment, as they prepare then for that World Cup qualifier.